Giving you a definition. What is additive manufacturing? Easy. It is the opposite of subtractive manufacturing. Okay, so what is subtractive manufacturing? Taking stuff away. If you start with raw materials, you drill a hole in it. Or you start with metal and you machine metal away. You're creating waste from the raw materials. Wood carvings, sculpting, they're all subtractive. Ice carving, they're subtractive manufacturing technologies. And yes, cut and sew is subtractive because you lay out the fabric, you cut out the parts, you've got the waste, so now you've subtracted the materials. How do you start from the materials, go to the finished product? Well, in the knitting world, our grandmothers have been doing additive manufacturing for a long time. It just wasn't called that, where you go straight from raw materials to finished product. And now Shimaseki and Stoll have technology to allow you to do that in the knitting world. Both those companies. Well, there's another technology, and it was mentioned this morning in the video about 3D printing. And it's being used for a lot of things, from plastics to steel to porcelain, a lot of different things that are using 3D printing. And just to give you a sense of where that technology is going, one of the companies that provides it is called Objet. Gives you a sense of what are some of the kinds of products that can already be manufactured from a 3D CAD file using 3D printing. One of the limitations is how many different materials can you put together. Objet has a machine you can do 2 different materials and you can do 2 different colors. I want a machine that will let me do at least 4 or 5 different colors and the same number of materials. Because where is it heading? It's coming our way. And there's another term just a file away called contour crafting, because it's not inkjet, but it is an additive manufacturing. Here's a short look at ceramics being extruded from a 3D CAD file, which tells me that someday if I break a coffee cup, I'll just make another one. I haven't figured out where I'm going to get the kiln in my home, because if you're using ceramics, you have to get it to pretty high temperature, but even that might be changed with some of the materials that are being developed. And then what about concrete? Concrete walls being manufactured from CAD files using additive, going straight from the materials to the finished product. And what's next? Building houses. If you've ever been to a big shipyard, you know there's already equipment that'll handle this sort of stuff. So imagine, rather than making all these bricks, all the bricks and mortar, making all these bricks and assembling a house, but make that from a 3D CAD file on site. So there's so many things today that can be done with 3D printing, including the first airplane that was made.
Here in Wiltshire, engineers have just launched the first plane made entirely with a 3D printer. Jim Scanlon and his team designed and printed the aircraft in just a week. In this test, it successfully completes a 10-minute flight.
Remarkable.
So they designed it in a week and flew it. Now there's some garments that have been printed. N12 nylon is one of them. The first bikini made from N12 nylon. And I looked at this and I thought, well, it looks like it's been made to shape in 3D.
The ambition of defining the future of fashion, because we feel that the future of fashion is going to be about how do we use emerging technologies that are becoming more and more readily accessible. Our design N12 is the world's first ready-to-wear article of completely 3D printed clothing.
Now I have no idea how comfortable N12 nylon is to wear, but it's a beginning. And then a Dutch designer, Herpen, designed an entire line using 3D printing. This dress was not totally 3D printed, the components were, and then they were seamed together. It's a Michael Jackson glove. And there are some things being made you might want to question. Prosthetics. We've got a concept to combine body scanning with a 3D printer to make prosthetics, because if somebody in the military loses a limb, if you've scanned them beforehand, then you'll be able to reproduce the exact lost data and make it a little bit better. And some work going on in bioengineered meat products. Someday you might have a 3D printed steak you go into the, or what about hamburgers? Or what about your unborn baby taken from an ultrasound? File conversion driven through a 3D printer. Back into our industry, how about bioengineered leather for pocketbooks? It's happening. And in fact, this is the first fully 3D printed dress. Again, it looks sharp. Nylon, not sure about the comfort. So where's it going? Not next year, and maybe not 5 years, but let's look out about 10 years, where we have developed nanoparticle fibrous substances that have the characteristics of cloth like cotton, that can be ink-jetted through 3D printing systems to make clothing. And then what? Maybe having them in your home. We're already seeing that for making toys. Buying a relatively inexpensive, few $100 3D printer, make Lego blocks and things like that. All I'm saying is, don't panic. It's not going to be here tomorrow. But my challenge to you at the beginning was, if you can just open your minds to think a little bit. You didn't have to sing, you didn't have to stand up, but I just want you to be able to open your minds, be aware of some of the things that are going on. At some point, they will have an impact on your business. And if you have been thinking about it, you'll be much more able to do something about it. Thank you.